Okay, I think, am I audible to everyone? Please comment yes if you can hear me. Okay, so I think one person is watching me right now. Okay, so I'm going to start Blender 3.1 lecture. So hi guys, my name is Suraj and thank you for joining me in this Blender course. So for the first time ever, I'm going to teach Blender in English just because of there is a friend of mine from Africa. His name is Martin. So he actually does not understand Hindi, so that is why I am going to teach Blender in English. If you have any doubt, any questions, please ask me. I'll let you know in your native language. So first of all, we are going to start Blender. Let me introduce Blender first. Blender is a free 3D and open source software where you can model, texture, light and render your stuffs. If you are familiar with 3D space, you can understand easily, but if you are not, so this course, this live session is for you. So first of all, let me introduce the thing what we can do in Blender. So as you can see, there are many tabs, tools and properties and panels and so on. Everything is situated in Blender. So first of all, when you open the Blender, you can see this kind of a screen, a simple camera, a simple cube and a simple light. So this will be your first scene. So if I introduce, so there are file, edit, render, window and help. These are the menus which is situated in Blender, and these are the tabs like layout, modeling, sculpting, UV editing, texture paint, shading, animation and so on. And here are the tools. So what we can do basically in Blender, see, let me press A to select all and delete. And so as you can see, I deleted everything from my interface. So this is the interface of Blender. This is a 3D space, you can see, which I can navigate around with my middle mouse button. So if you want to use Blender in PC, so definitely you will have which have scroll button, that is a necessity to navigate in Blender. So by pressing middle mouse button, I can navigate my screen. Okay, so when I'm navigating my screen, you can see these gizmos are reacting with it. See, if I want to go in X mode, X axis, so I have to just click on X axis. So you can see I am on X axis. If I click Z axis, you can see we are standing on Z axis. So these are the basic things to navigate your interface. Okay, so if you want to zoom, so you have to scroll in and scroll out to use zoom in zoom out feature. And to pan around your interface, you have to click shift and middle mouse button. With that you can pan your screen around. To add an object, there are two ways to add your object. First thing is go to add button, mesh. Here are many kind of objects are there. We have plane, cube, circle, UV sphere, icosphere, cylinder, cone and torus, so on. Why are these shapes? Because these are primitives which are from these primitives we can create many kind of things. Like we can create a building from cube, we can create gas stoves from cylinder, we can create a human body with the UV sphere. So there are many things. So if you want to add a cube, simply go and click here on cube. So we will get a cube in our interface. And if you want to delete it, then just press delete. So there is another way to add an object into our interface. By pressing Shift A, we will get this menu, add menu. From this we can add our mesh, we can add our curves, surface, like this thing. There are mesh, curves, surface, metabolts, text, and everything we can add from here. So the second way is by pressing Shift A and going mesh, and we can add cube from here. So these are the common things we can use to add objects in our Blender. Okay. So first of all we are going to add a plane. Okay. So just add an object is not a good thing. We have to manipulate them, we have to move them, we have to scale them, or we have to rotate them. So how we can do it in Blender? So if we want to move our object in Blender, so for that we have to press G. So by pressing G, we can move our object in our 3D space. Okay, but as you can see, I cannot move along with any axis. It moves freely. If I just pressing G, I'm going to press escape. And if you want to navigate or move your object in particular axis, so you have to press two keys. If you want to move your plane into Y axis, so you have to press G and Y. So this allows me to move my object in particular axis. If I press X, so that thing allow me to move my things on X axis. Okay. So to move your objects, you have to press G. Now we are going to rotate our plane. So what we can do for that? If you want to rotate your plane, you can rotate it by press R. See, I can rotate my plane in any axis. As we move our object by pressing G and X, it moves on particular axis, it goes with same in rotation. So if I want to rotate my plane on X axis, so I have to press R and X. It will only rotate my plane on X axis. There is another thing. If you want to rotate your thing on a certain degrees or particular angle. So you have to type that particular digit so it can rotate on that particular degree. So if I press R and X, you can see I can rotate my plane. But if I want to rotate my plane on exact 90 degree, so I have to type 90 and press enter. So as you can see, my plane is 90 degree oriented plane. Okay, so this is the best thing in Blender which we can do, and is we do not have to navigate around to move our object, to rotate our object. Now if you want to scale our object, so this thing is around you can see 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. Okay, so if you want to scale your object, so let me revise. If you want to move your object, you have to press G. If you want to rotate your object, you have to press R. And if you want to scale your object, you have to press S. By pressing S, we can scale our object. Okay, so these are basic things. Okay, so Blender is not just this much capable, we can do more than that. If you want to edit our object, so we have a mode called object mode, edit mode, sculpt mode, vertex paint, weight paint, texture paint. We are not going in all these things, but in our for this lecture only, we are going to edit this object by pressing on edit mode. So as you can see, our object is converted in face, edges and vertex. You can see the point here, it called a vertex. If you want to move your vertex, you have to just press G and you can move your vertex. If you want to scale your vertex, just select two vertex, press S and you can scale your vertex. And if you want to rotate your vertex, just press R so that you can rotate your vertex and you can change your plane as well. Okay, so there is a shortcut if you to toggle between object mode and edit mode. So if you want to toggle between this particular two modes, you have to press tab. By pressing tab, you can toggle between two modes, object mode and edit mode. So what is the difference between object mode and edit mode? See, in object mode you can do three things. You can move, you can scale or you can rotate. But in edit mode, you can edit, you can add segments into it, you can make it subdivide. So we will cover that later on. Okay, so now we have now I am going to delete this plane. So so next thing is we have this much tools. So I am going to add a cube again. Okay, we are not seeing any kind of gizmos here. To watch a gizmo, if you want to active your gizmos, you have to click here. So it says it is a move tool. So you can see there is a shortcut Shift space bar or G, which I show you earlier. If I want to move this object, I can click over here. So activate. So it will automatically activate the gizmo tool by pressing. And if you want to move your object in particular axis, you have to click on certain gizmo and you can move your object around. Same goes with rotation. I can rotate in particular axis or any axis I want. Okay, and this is a scale tool which you can, if I'm going to press scale, you can scale that thing on particular axis like y-axis, x-axis and z-axis. Okay, and in any time you can go in your edit mode and you can move also particular vertex or face. See this thing we can call it vertex. There is another mode, that is edge mode. It will select a particular edge. As you can see, if you want to slant your object, this will helpful to you. Okay, So this is an edge mode by using that you can manipulate your edge. And there is a third option, it is a face mode. Face is like this a polygon we can call a face. It will move entire thing. You can rotate that particular face and you can scale that particular face. Okay, so I hope you can understand what I am trying to say. If you can't understand something, please let me know in comment section so I can elaborate what we can do further with that. Okay, so these are the basic things. So let me add many other objects so you can relate how many objects we can add. So in any Blender course you will see this monkey in any Blender beginner course. So his name is Suzanne. If you want to add monkey, you have to just press Shift A, then go to mesh, and here you can see monkey, but in outliner you can see his name is Suzanne. I don't know his or her. So that's the cool thing about Blender. Okay, so now we will go in a modeling section. So what is modeling section? Modeling section is like you can model 3D stuffs in your Blender interface. So if you want to model something, like if I want to model a chair, so for that I will start afresh and going to press Shift A and add a cube. Now I will press G and Z. It will go on Z axis. Now I will go into scale. So S and Z, it will shrink my cube. Okay, so it is just I created just a base, nothing more than that. But if I want to add more segments to create my chair, to finish my task, I have to go in edit section by pressing tab. So as you can see, I got more of tools, like we got extrude, we got inset and bevel and so on. So first of all, to create a chair, I will set inset as my tool and I will rotate it. So it will insert my face. If I press E, it will extrude my face. You can press E so many times. To insert you have to press I. To extrude you have to press E. So these are the basic tools. From you can model anything within Blender. So if I want to bevel this edge, so first of all I have to select this edge mode and then select particular edge which I want to bevel and go I will select this tool and click and drag this thing. It will bevel my object. If I press A, see it bevels my thing. If you want to add more subdivision, you can add from here. See, it adds the segments. So I am going back in object mode and see what happens. See, I created this from a cube, simple nestologic thing. I don't know what exactly it is, but we can create this kind of thing. Okay, so there are many types which you can create stuffs. Like first by using modeling tools you can create this much of basic thing, but if you want to go more advanced, you can use sculpting. I don't know how much you know about sculpting, but sculpting is basically you are gathering many shapes, and you are if you see think like if you are an idol maker. So idol maker have just a basic sand, wet sand, and he's creating an idol from particular thing. Sculpting is based on that particular thing, where you have a digital object and you can sculpt and give immense kind of detail in your object by using sculpting method. So in sculpting you can see there are many kind of brushes. If you know digital painting, if you know sculpting, if you know how to use a brush, so if you are a painter, you have to use many kind of brush. That same concept is we can use in Blender. So we have this much of brush. So first of all, let me delete this thing, and I will just going to add a UV sphere, make it smooth, and I will going to add a modifier called subdivision surface, and going to increase. Okay, so now I will go in sculpt mode. See, so I don't know how much you are familiar with ZBrush. ZBrush is also a best sculpting tool out in the market. So in my opinion, Blender is a second tool that you can use in your sculpting workflow. So, and the main part, the main thing, and the most powerful thing about Blender is it is a free. You can go into their website, you can download from there, and you can get it from free. So that's the main thing. You do not have to pay much of dollar or rupees or any kind of cash flow. So Blender is totally free. You can use it on any type of laptop, any type of screen. So let's come back to our sculpting thing. So these are tools. First of all, I am going to use this clay strips. So as you can see, no much detail I can see on my object. So I have to increase my topology, and I will going to apply this and Dino Topo. See, I am not going into detail. It is just an overview video, so you can understand what we can do in a Blender. See, I am sculpting with my mouse. Don't choose this option. If you want to sculpt in Blender, please use pen tablet or any kind of screen touch tablet. It will be easy and more convenient to use your to sculpt your things in Blender. So as you can see, I can sculpt my things by using clay strip brush. I can use so many brushes. If you want to increase your brush size, you have to press F. It will, and drag your mouse. It will going to increase your brush size. See, if you want to decrease your brush size, you have to again press F and drag your mouse. It will going to decrease your brush size. See, now as you can see, I got this kind of result just because of my pressure sensitivity is high. So if you want to decrease your pressure sensitivity, just you have to press Shift F, and you can see I see a number. You can think as like opacity. So see, I can increase and decrease my opacity. If I going with 100%, it gives me result like this. If I pressing Shift S and drag my mouse towards left, I think so it will going to give me this much of result. As you can see the difference. So if you want to sculpt in a Blender, that is the more convenient tool. You can use a Blender. There are many there are many artists who are using Blender to sculpt their objects. One of them is Jan Sculpt. I personally want to learn that person's skill, but I don't know. I don't know how. I can't understand because the main thing is I do not have pen tablet also, so I cannot follow his I cannot follow his. I forgot the word. Instructions. Yes, I do not understand, and basically I'm from motion graphic background, so I don't know how to sculpt the thing. So yeah, now we can sculpt our object within a blender. Okay, so next step is about UV editing. So what is UV editing? If you want to colorize or texturize your object, you have to edit your UVs. UV is itself a deep subject to learn. So if you are not familiar with UV, please go and check out other tutorials about UV editing. So let me try to elaborate what UV exactly it is. So there is a you model an object. Okay, so it will come with this grayish kind of color. If you want to colorize them, if you want to apply an image on them, you have to unwrap it. Unwrapping like think like a box. If you have a box and close it from every sides, so you will see 6 or 8 sides of that box. So that particular thing we can say it unwrapping. So you have to unwrap that object and you can texturize or materialize or colorize your object with the help of UV editing. So in a blender there are many options. You can colorize or texturize your thing, but in my case, in my opinion, you have to choose after unwrapping it, you have to choose Substance Painter. That is the most convenient tool out in market. So that is a much bit price you have to pay, but that will be more convenient to texturize your object and your model. So I will not go into deep dive, but let me unbox one thing. Let me unwrap one object for you. So for that, I will going to add a cube, and by going see, I just went in edit mode and it automatically unwrapped my object. See, so this is my unwrapped object. If you want to unwrap a sphere, so just let me add a sphere, UV sphere. If you want to unwrap this sphere, you have to just press tab. Sphere will come like this, but there is another way to unwrap your model. If you want to select you have to select your edges by pressing Alt and Alt Shift and Control. See, this is the proper method to unwrap a cube. Now I will go and right click and I'll select Mark Seam. I want to cut out from here, not from as you like. So pressing pressing A and just where it was, UV unwrap. See, this is the proper way to unwrap your sphere. Now we can move our it called UV island. So like moving or scaling or rotating object, you can move, scale and rotate your UV island as well. by pressing just G, S and R. G to move, S for scale and R to rotate. You can straight your UV island also. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, you can unwrap your models in Blender. So I have to choose new texture. I'm going to choose yes. Color should be blue and hit OK. So as you can see, I got a new texture. First of all I have to save it. So to save my texture, sorry. To save my image, I have to just click on image and then save. I can save anywhere, and I can give it a name like test UV sphere. Sorry. So I'm going to save this image. Now I want to paint on it. Okay. So texture paint will help me to paint on it. Currently I cannot do anything. I have to just add a texture. Now I can paint over my subject. To increase or decrease your brush size, the same method will go on. Like pressing F, you can decrease your brush size. By pressing F, you can increase your brush size. You can write your name on it. Pardon for my handwriting. See, you can paint the things on your object. It could be any color. See, I can paint anywhere. As you can see, I will paint here. I'm painting here, but it shows me here also. So that means I can paint over on my island also. See, in real time. Okay, so this is the basic thing in texture paint. We can add many type of textures in it. So yeah. So now we will go on shading mode. So as you can see, what we painted in texture paint tab, it shows me here. And this is my painting. Thank you. By the way, this is like abstract painting which I've done. So yeah. So if I want to colorize or texturize my objects, so for that I'm going to delete this base color. Going to delete this as well. and I will start afresh by clicking this new button. So as you can see, I am getting this much of property. Okay, so I am getting a base color which is this. We have subsurface scattering. Subsurface scattering is like if a light transpasses from a transparent object, or like if light passes from our skin, so it looks slight little bit of reddish. That light called that thing called subsurface scattering. So that is another thing which I will teach you in next lessons. If you want to increase our specular is like this highlight. You can see this is a specular, this is roughness. First of all, let me shade. See, I'm increase the specular, I'm increase the roughness, transmission, which represent glass. I can emit a light from my object. So you cannot see in here, you have to go in layout tab and just move here and add a plane, scale it out and render it. And you have to change your renderer. See, now my object is acting like a light. So yeah, these are the shading things. If you want to focus on particular object, just select and press full stop or period key on a numpad. It will automatically focus that subject for you. If I want to add a texture on this plane, let me download first. So for that I have to just click on new. To add an image texture, you have to just press Shift A to find and type image. Just click open and it will open your browser, and select from that thing and see if you want to apply this texture, just click on it and open image and just connect this color and base color thing together like this. So as you can see, I applied my texture on a simple plane. If you scale your plane, it will automatically adjust your texture along with it. You can model things by applying a texture also. Let me show you an example. If you want to add a subdivision, just press Ctrl R and add a cut here, Ctrl R, add another cut here, again Ctrl R, another cut here and Ctrl R, another cut here. Okay, so now I will select this face and hit extrude by pressing E, and I will extrude inner side. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts. So to create 5 cuts, press Ctrl R you have to first of all select the face, hit Ctrl R, what is happening? So these are the things you can face many times in Blender. I don't know why it is not working. To duplicate this object, just press Shift D and rotate it on Z axis. Again press Shift D and rotate it. (180 degree). Again Shift D, rotate it 180 degree. So like this we have a box. How stupid thing I've done. You have to just add a cube, go in shading mode, take a new texture, search for image texture and open it, desktop, open, and here. See, it's like not a perfect applied texture. So for that you have to change your texture type from flat to box. And from I don't know what's going on exactly. So this is the basic thing. Okay, so now we are going to look in animation tab. So to animate your object, you will get this kind of interface. where you can move your stuff and you can see only animation from you. So just if I want to animate something in Blender, so I have to learn about animation. There are 12 principles of animation. If you want to what Blender can do, you have to see some films like Sprite Fright, and there is another film called Agent 007 and Spring. There are many films which are used in Blender, which are created in Blender. Now back to the topic. So if you want to animate your stuffs in Blender, so here is the thing. It's called a timeline, or we can tell dope sheet as well. That is the technical name of timeline. So if you want to animate something, you have to add a keyframe. So let me assume if I want to animate object from here, and when I press play button, my object will can be here. So how can I do that? So first of all, let my object move here and press I to add a keyframe. So there are many options which you can give a keyframe. So first of all is location. We want to animate our location. So for that we have to choose location, and as you can see, we got this much of keyframes. So if we will go further in the timeline, and again we will press G, Y and stop, and we have to press I and location. So it will give me another keyframe. So as you can see, my cube is moving. Let me decrease timeline. See, when I press play button, my cube will move from its native position to position A to position B. Okay. So if I want to increase my time, so you have to just click and drag this keyframe, and let me adjust it 70. So it will slow down my animation. As you can see this. There is another thing which you can in which you can manipulate your animation by using curves. Curves is the most powerful thing to animate your subject or any kind of your character. So to go in curves mode, you have to just press Ctrl and Tab. It will give you a curve mode where you can animate anything. See, I didn't give any kind of keyframe, but it moves along along with my curves. See. So this is the best part of curves. I do not have to change my animation. I can just manipulate a little bit by using curves. So that's the main good thing about Blender. And in any 3D software, you can use curves in Maya or Cinema 4D or 3ds Max. In any kind of 3D software, you will find this. Even After Effects also, you will going to find this curves option. Okay. So now let's come on rendering. See, whatever we created, we model a character, we model or sculpt a character, we add UV Unwrap it, we textured it or materialized it, we rigged it. So after all, we need an output. To get an output, the rendering tab comes. So to render something, just first of all, let me apply a texture. Okay, so to render in Blender you have to press F12. It says no camera found in the scene, so you have to add a camera from by pressing Shift A, press camera, and where is my camera? Here it is. So move your camera and click to get enter in camera. Just click here. You will get enter in your camera. When you if you rotate your camera view, it will automatically come out in your from your camera. So see, it is automatically scrolling in and out. I want to scroll my scene, not my camera. So to do that, by pressing N and go to view and just set to camera view. So camera will be static and your object will be moved. Okay, so if you press F12, we get this kind of result because there is no light in our scene. To add a light, you can just press Shift A, light, and there is point light, sunlight, spotlight, and area light. We will choose point light, and this is our point light. Okay, so now you can see the result. I will going to press F12. See, it lighted my scene. Okay, now you can increase or decrease. The best part of Blender is you can watch it interactively. So to increase or decrease my light intensity, I have to select light and go to in light tab, and I have to increase my power, and I will press F12. See, I can add as much light I want. See, it is rendering. I have chosen 4000 samples, so it will take time to render. So this is the rendering thing. Now the most dangerous thing in Blender is scripting. Oh my god. With the help of scripting, you can create add-ons, you can create pie menu, because Blender is an open source software. So it allows you to develop things in a Blender, within a Blender. So I will show you a little part of scripting, so it will help you to understand which kind of things Blender can do. So in a scripting tab, I am just going to create a new script, and it will create a, see, this is a panel where we can type the scripts and which can execute in this panel. This is a console. If you are wrong in something, it will shows you here. Okay, so first of all, let me type first line of code, which is import BPY. See, Blender is a Python based software, and it allows you to do scripting in Blender by using Python. So if you are familiar with Python, first line always should be import. So if you are using Cinema 4D, so first line will be import C4D. If you are using Python, so the first line is BPY. BPY means Blender Python. Okay, so import BPY. So now I want to add a cube. So this is the third option. If you want to add a cube or any kind of primitive or any kind of object. So to add a cube, I have to just write BPY Blender Python dot. In Blender Python, I will go for OPS. OPS stands for operators. Okay, so thing like in C folder, in Win program files, in this and this and this. So that is a path structure. So we have, if we want to add a cube, we have to tell the Blender this is the path structure of my required object. So please give me that object on my interface. Okay, so we are just telling the Blender, please give me this object in their own language. So we are now collaborating with we are now having conversation with Blender in his own language. So to add a cube, just type bpy.ops.mesh.primitive. Okay, and underscore cube underscore add, and then open and close bracket. Okay, nothing happens because I didn't compile it, I didn't run my script. To run my script, we have to just press this play button. Like, see, we got a cube in our 3D space. Now if you want to add a sphere, so we have to just change cube to sphere. So see, the name, if I only type sphere, nothing will happen, because the name of sphere in Blender is UV sphere. So you have to add UV underscore sphere to add your UV sphere. It will automatically add a sphere into your interface. Now if you want to add two things, I want to add sphere and light, area light together. So for that I have to type bpy.ops. Now we do not want to import any object or mesh, any kind of mesh. We want to import an object which is area light. So I will tell that from Blender Python, from operators, from object dot light, from object and light underscore add. Now we have to define which kind of light we want to import. So we have to tell the Blender which type of light you want. So in our case, we want to add an area light. See, I type the name area, it will automatically change a color. See, there are many things, it automatically change the colors, like import, like if you want to define something, then define, then we will define class, if we have if condition. So if we have any kind of text, if we have any kind of comment, so these are basic things. If you want to learn more about scripting, please join my class, so where I can show you how to use Blender script. So yeah, I typed I summoned an area light and a UV sphere together to get that particular thing in your 3D interface. You have to just press here and it will gives you an area light with UV sphere together. See, now we want to do further than this. If we want to add a plane and we want to transform it particular in 90 degree, and if you want to resize in particular 555 meter, so what we have to do? So for that we have to type bpy.ops.mesh.primitive, pardon, primitive underscore plane underscore add. So this is the basic command to summon to call a plane in our scene. Enter. Then we want to transform it. So type bpy.ops.transform dot rotate. First let me check. Okay, my plane is coming. Now I want to transform. So bpy.ops.transform.rotate and value is equal to 1.5708. See, 1.5708 is basically 90-degree angle in a blender, and I want to rotate in 90 degree, but I want to rotate along with x-axis, not in y or not in z. So I have to orient. I have to tell blender, you have to orient this my plane in x-axis. So for that I am going to type orient underscore axis equals x-axis. Okay. So now I will going to press play button. There is a little bit of mistake is going on. Hold a second. Oh, sorry, I have to capitalize x-axis. See, this is the minor thing, but it impacts. I have written x in small, it doesn't execute, but when I wrote x in capital, it immediately executes. So much headache thing. If you want to orient y-axis, just say to y, it will orient your object in y, and then z, display. See, we are going to do a crazy thing like x, y and z. So now what Blender will do, it will goes with these three lines one by one and execute the last line. See, it doesn't matter what is written here because these three are same commands. Now if I change this to x and this to y, see, it adds another plane with x-axis with 90 degrees. So this is the thing which we can do in Blender. We can do modeling, texturing, lighting, rendering, animation, compositing and scripting. So I showed you the basic thing. So now bonus part comes. I literally wanted to show you how to create an add-on with the help of visual scripting by using Subsurface add-on, which is a $15 add-on. You have to purchase it from a Blender Market. Don't worry, Blender Market doesn't pay me off, but Blender Market is a good place where you can purchase add-ons, scripts to do more creative stuffs. So for that I'm going to use visual scripting tab. Okay, just layout, go in layout and now visual scripting, and I will drag it from here to have my 3D viewport. Okay, so what is visual scripting? Scripting, it was we have to type every line of code to execute certain things, but visual scripting is you do not have type any kind of thing, just attach nodes with each other which create that thing in Blender. So if I want to add a panel over here, so you see, you can see create view and tool panels are here. If you will enable any kind of add-on from here, like something like ANT landscape, I don't know which add-on will, you can see here. So if you download any kind of add-on from Blender Market or from anywhere, you will see here like mesh, see how it shows a create tab, and these are the landscape tools which we can tell these are add-ons. So if you want to create this kind of add-on, just add Subsurface in your Blender to edit your add-ons from by using Visual Scripting. So now we are going to create a small kind of add-on in Blender. So first of all, we have to just click new and give it a name like paste add-on and author whatever name you like. So now I will go to create a panel first, and I will create a row, and I will create a simple button. See, so it allows me to choose where I want to place my add-on. So properties, select panel and select location. I can put it here, I can put it anywhere, my panel, but the good place is here. So just select location, and I will name a category like test add-on and Blender test. Okay, so I will connect a panel thing to interface and interface thing to button. Now I have button. See, test add-on comes here, Blender test. You can change name like test add-on name, and by pressing Shift R it will automatically change name. So I created a button, but button doesn't show me here. So to execute the button, you have to paste a property or operator like button or cube or any kind of thing. So I will going to import and I will go to FBX, and I will right click on it and click on it, Subsurface copy operator, and I will paste here. So it will going to import my FBX, and I will name it import FBX, and I will give icon to it. So for that I have to press icon, and I will going to select icon FBX. No, import, yes, import icon, and I will attach this thing to icon. If I press Shift R, you can see import FBX comes, and if you click on that thing, it will show import your FBX. So this is the basic thing which I shown to you. By Serpent Visual Script Editor, you can create your own Blender add-on. You can export it and you can earn it from your add-on. As I earned, I created a SVG tool. If you want to download that tool, I will give it the link in your description or upload it in your Google Drive, in my Google Drive. So where you can download your SVG tool. So I created that add-on from Serpent Editor, which will allow you to extrude your extrude, bevel and many kind of things within a Blender by using that add-on. So thank you to have me, and if you want to learn more things about Blender, first of all and lastly, pardon for my language, I do not know how to teach in English, because I used to teach in Gujarati or Hindi, so pardon for that. So I tried my best to teach you in English. So if I made a mistake, please forget about that. Okay, so now best part comes. If you want to learn more thing about Blender, please contact me on my number, and you can text me on my WhatsApp number, so I can teach you personally Blender. So thanks for having me. Thank you. Good night.